Hi everyone, it's me, Beatty Cali Sunflower. So I thought I'd hop on today and do a tag that was created by Rhiannon from Rhiannon Rambles. And the tag is called #WanderlustDecks. I will add Rhiannon's original video in the description bar. So far I've seen a few videos. I think I've seen Rochelle's from Ascension. She added a few more questions to this tag, but primarily it's a 13 question tag. But Rhiannon did say that you can add more questions in there if you feel like it. So let's crack on. So the first question is the backpacker, a deck that's adventurous, practical and versatile. So for me, I see a backpacker as a young person that's just doing like cheap traveling during their gap year at university, or even sometimes older people that have taken a career break or on retirement. And I see a backpacker as not having much money and staying in inexpensive kind of places because they usually have rucksacks. I would say that they're kind of minimalists. So the decks that I want to use for this question are two, because I couldn't make up my mind on which deck to choose. They're both pocket size, because I gathered that, you know, if they're pocket size decks, they'd be easier to transport around. So they're both minimalist, because I just feel that a backpacker wouldn't be into too much glamour, you know, kind of no frills sort of person. So the first one is called the Awesome Cards. I think these were gifted to me by the lovely Queen Offset, if I can remember. Really nice. Just a packet of playing cards, no frills, minimalist. And I think this would appeal to a backpacker because it's just portable, plain, no fuss, you know, and you can pull them out as and when to play with. Second deck that I think would be ideal for a backpacker is called Lifeline Tarot, and it's just again pocket size deck, black and white. It's the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, but in sketches, because I just had the impression that backpackers are mainly students, you know, just in their gap year. Even though, as I said before, that you do get the older ones that are either taking a career break or in retirement. But I think, you know, the size of this deck and the actual archetypes would, to me, appeal very much to a backpacker. And of course, I'd keep it in a double mini tarot bag with my name on it, so that, you know, if it was to be misplaced in a low budget accommodation, it'd be easy to locate. Okay, so the next question is the Cruiser, a deck that is relaxing, luxurious and enjoyable. And for this question, I've chosen the Housewife Tarot. And the reason why I've chosen this tarot is because, in my opinion, the average age, you know, of a person that goes on a cruise tends to be in their mid-40s. I find the era of this deck, which is supposed to represent the 1950s, quite luxurious and enjoyable. This deck is presented in like a mock recipe box. So you can see, you know, it's got the instruction book, which goes here, the major arcana and the minor arcana. And most people who I know, on average, that are the age of my perceptive cruiser, also prefer to cook from scratch. I'll just show you through these cards in this deck. I'm sure everyone's seen it before, but it's, you know, the suits are color coded, and it's just kind of really glamorous archetypes. Well, in my opinion, you know, people might not find this glamorous, but I do like the 1950s era, and I think it suits the stereotypical age group of a cruiser, which is somebody in their mid-40s, mid to late 40s, early 50s. So this is the deck that I chose for the cruiser. So question 3 is the Road Tripper, a deck that is spontaneous, fun and full of surprises. The deck that I've chosen for this question is the Impressionist Tarot. I'm not sure if this deck is in print, but it's Rider-Waite inspired, based around artists. It's just a very fun deck and it's full of surprises because you know, one doesn't expect different pieces of artwork to give such accurate readings. So I really like it, and the guidebook as well is also very informative. And the actual frame is supposed to be a picture frame. So this is the Impressionist Tarot. So question 4, excuse me, is the Explorer, a deck that's curious, daring and open-minded. And for this one, I've chosen the deck called the Cap of Contemplation. It's by Julie from the Peekaboo Rose YouTube channel. That's the cards. It's like a mug of coffee or tea. To me, this deck is quite different to most decks that I have in my collection because it asks a direct question about life, and it's supposed to give you time to ponder while you sip your favourite brew from a mug. So, you know, this could be tea or coffee, and each card has a question, and it has like a teacup or a coffee cup. And I tend to use this with a tarot or oracle deck to answer the question. This is the deck that I find curious, daring and open-minded. So question 5 is the Tourist, a deck that's popular, accessible and well known. And for this question I've chosen the Unfolding Path Tarot. So this is not a new deck independently, but it's just been released mass produced. So I'll show you my mass produced copy. So it's Rider-Waite inspired, very diverse, very modern. It's UK published, which I like. The suits are colour coded. It shows different races, different abilities, different sexualities, different ages, you know, it ticks most of the boxes, or all of the boxes in my opinion, for diversity. And, you know, it's relatable. So this is the deck that I've used to describe the Tourist. Okay, so question 6 is the Local, a deck that is authentic, familiar and close to home. So for me, a deck that is authentic, familiar and close to home is any kind of Rider-Waite Smith inspired deck. And the deck that I've chosen is the Tarot of the Old Path. It's an AGM deck. Created by the artists Sylvia Gainsford and the author Howard Rodway with the help of 8 witches and representatives of the traditional Wicca path. 78 cards designed with psychic insights using a modern approach to the magical old path. So this is just the deck that I'm working with. Comes with a little white book. These are the backs of the cards. So it's really beautiful. It's just, it's not inclusive, it's just a regular alternative to the Rider-Waite Smith deck. I like the greens and the earthy tones of this deck. So this is a deck that I've just been working with this week, and I thought I'll add it for this hashtag. Question number 7 is the Jet Setter, a deck that's glamorous, sophisticated and worldly. I chose the Beatles Tarot. Haven't opened it up yet because I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have it in my collection. But in my opinion, the Beatles were jet setters and very worldly. So I have flipped through the book, and I just don't know if it's for me. So the sticks being wands is Ringo, the cups being a George, the S words, I guess, which is swear words, are John. I reckon that should be the swords, and the pentacles are Paul. So it's Rider-Waite-Smith based. Not sure if it's for me, but with relation to this question, I think this is a perfect deck for question 7. So question 8 is the Pilgrim, a deck that's spiritual, meaningful and transformative. And for this question, I've chosen the Tarot, the Kingdom Within deck, because this deck was designed to help one reclaim their personal truth. So I think this is a Schiffer deck. I don't know if this is still in print, because I've had this deck for quite a while, but it comes with a guidebook. How many pages is it? About 175 pages. And the cards sit at the side. So I'll just show you a few cards. So quite glossy actually. So you've got the Fool, the Magician. They kind of got like a spiritual energy around them. Let me just take this box down so I can show you the cards properly. So you've got the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor. I must admit, I don't use this deck that much, but at the time when I was using it quite regular, I did find it quite spiritual and meaningful. Okay, so this is the Tarot Within. So question 9 is the Nomad, a deck that's free-spirited, independent and adaptable. And for this question, I've chosen the Divine Portal Yoni Oracle. So because the cards are kind of cartoonish, I will show you a few cards and I'll quickly show you some things from the guidebook as well. I created these cards to give you answers when you are stuck, spiritual guidance when you feel lost, and inspiration when you feel creative. Use it for intuitive divination, orgasmic meditation and sexual transmutation. But it's not really a pornographic deck. It wasn't designed to be pornographic. So it just gives you some kind of like cards at the beginning, just a bit describing the author. And I think it's got a card there for spreads as well. So if I'll just show you a couple of cards. So that's the Huntress and the Recluse. It's just showing different vulvas. The back of the deck is supposed to represent, you know, the clitoris. So if I just go through card 1. The Huntress dies of starvation if she fails. She is independent and fierce. She sustains herself and her community. Their strengths are communication and setting healthy boundaries, while their weakness is their ego and pride. Because of this, getting this wrong is hard for the Huntress. And it gives you the element, which is fire, balance, which is autonomy, independent choice, and balance is fearful, restricted and rigid. Ritual is, well, she put here the P word for vagina, breathing. And the stones are agate, red jasper. This is like the numerology kind of aspect for this card. The one is self-sufficient, doesn't wait for handouts and moves fiercely to accomplish goals. The one stands more alone, can adapt to change quickly and moves efficiently. But it gives you a quote here: sticks and stones will break your bones, but failure will get you killed, by Laurie K. Hamilton. Anyway, this deck is, to me, kind of like free-spirited, meaningful and transformative. But I think it's more of a self deck, not for others. So question number 10 is the Culture Vulture, a deck that's diverse, educational and enriching. I've chosen the Spirit Within deck by Stephen Bright. And the reason why I've chosen this is because it's silhouette, so it doesn't show any, it doesn't depict anything. It leaves it up to your imagination. You know, you can't really tell. I guess you can by the outline, but I always find decks that are silhouette don't depict skin colour, age or whatever. It's just, to me, quite a diverse deck. I love the fact that the suits are colour coded. Let me just turn this around and stuff. Rider-Waite inspired, and it gives really kind of good, accurate readings. But also, I like the way that Stephen Bright writes. So even though this guidebook is not very long, 96 pages, he writes very short, punchy and straight to the point with no waffle, and I like that kind of writing style. So that's why I find the deck kind of educational, and this would be very good for a beginner, I guess, as well, then, because Stephen Bright's meanings for each card are so on point to me. So this is the deck that I chose for the volunteer. So question 11 is the volunteer, a deck that's compassionate, helpful and altruistic. I've chosen the Life Design Oracle cards by Lisa McLaughlin. So this oracle to me is very compassionate, and it concentrates about people's well-beings. So, and I also love the keywords. So seize the moment to creatively direct your raw energy. Connect with nature, whatever the weather. Frame a vision. Enjoy lush and flourishing. So it's a very kind of like self-help, kind of nature-based deck, in my opinion. And it comes with a guidebook, you know, that gives a lot of encouragement. It talks about the astrological signs as well with the cards. The seasons. It's quite an informative little book. But I really like this deck. It's a kind of like a pick-me-up sort of deck. Oh, that's my card that she created for me, because it was a Kickstarter campaign, and she asked us to choose a season, and autumn's my favourite season, so I said autumn. And I really like things with my name on as well, because I was being born and growing up in London when I was a child. You know, there was you know, when we used to go to the seaside and, you know, get souvenirs, I could never find one with my name on it. So the creator done an extra card for all her backers with their name and their favourite season. Express an aspect of yourself through service. Play, rejoice, celebrate. Start something. So this is a deck that I chose for the volunteer. A deck that is compassionate, helpful and altruistic. The Solo Traveller, a deck that's introspective, self-reliant and empowering. So for this one, I've chosen the Hype Tarot. It's another deck that I haven't opened yet. So it came with a PDF which I got printed out, and I have been looking at the PDF. So this deck looks like it's got very kind of like minimalist kind of archetypes. I'm not sure if it's a deck for me, so that's why I haven't opened it yet, because I'm just trying to study the PDF that it came with and the spreads and stuff. And also I also bought a separate book by the creator of the High Tarot, and it's called Springtime All Over Again, and it's a re-imaging of the archetypal Fool's Journey set in a sculptor's garden. So it kind of talks about the major arcana cards, and you can see the pictures of each of the major arcana cards. And I'm just trying to think, like I said, whether this archetype is for me, so that's why I haven't opened it up yet. But it's brilliantly written, very different. So this is a deck that I chose for question 12, which is the Solo Traveller. And the final question, which is question 13, is the Dreamer, a deck that is imaginative, creative and visionary. And for that I chose the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palom. So I'll just go through some of the cards. So I love this deck. It reminds me of 1970s London that I grew up in. So it's multicultural, diverse, modern, relatable. Look at the world card. You know, all different cultures crocheting this world map, coming together. Depicts age. I think there's even people, I think it's the Chariot, I think it's somebody in a wheelchair. This reminds me of the Green in Common women. They used to do a lot of protesting. And I like that the suits are colour coded. So this is the deck that I chose for the last question, which is the Dreamer. A deck that's imaginative, creative and visionary. So thank you so much, Rihanna, for creating this beautiful hashtag. I will leave links in the description bar, if I can, for all the decks that I've showcased. See you in my next video. Bye for now.